Hi gang, this is another installment of the continuing saga of this car of mine, the 79 MGB that I bought. And this is a kind of a cautionary tale. Um, I guess some people that, you would think that they would buy a car like this and that they would want to fix things right if they doubted if their own skills. But apparently a car like this, I mean, yeah, it's not a Ferrari or it's not a Jaguar or a high-end classic, but it is, a car that deserves respect, and I guess this car didn't get some respect from the past owner or owners as far as the wiring. And it turned out that the tinkering by the past owner or owners was created basically a ticking time bomb. After I had fitted those panels, some functions had stopped working, and it was because of bad connections that were on the harness, jumpers and things that were added. And I'm going to show you the old harness. I had the mechanic give me the harness. When you see the work order here, I had a new, basically half of the harness, or half the harness of the whole car. Everything from the dashboard to the into the engine compartment was replaced, and as you can see, I got a deal on a good used harness from another 79 MGB. In fact, it's actually better now because some things actually work that weren't working all along to begin with, like the hazard flasher, things like that. But what kind of ticks me off though is that people will think they can fix things themselves, and apparently then he decided to pass off his crappy work on somebody else instead of doing it right, and that's basically what happened. I had suspected that there was problems because certain electrical functions didn't seem to be working very robustly, I guess you could say. Things like the windshield wipers. It's got like 2 speeds, but they were so slow. Even the higher speed was not very fast. When you would have more than a couple accessories going, they would everything would kind of slow down. And what happened is, after I had fitted those plastic panels, like I said, I tested the car and I didn't have certain functions, and I called this shop that I'd taken the car to, and he said, "Oh, you probably had your certain fuse blew," and sure enough, the fuse had blown, and there's a certain fuse. I replaced it and it had blown again, and then I found out that I was driving the car just around the block a couple times, and then I noticed that there was actually some smoking coming from under the dash. Well, that was a big red flag. So I ended up having to call this shop, and they came with their little trailer, and we pushed it on the trailer and took it to the shop there. And I just got the car back today, and like I said, everything works. Although the radio, I don't know if they forgot to hook up the stereo or something, but maybe I could do it myself, or maybe I'll even take it back to them. I'm sure they'd be happy to do that. In fact, I almost, before I left, I was trying to test everything, and of course I forgot to test the radio, and one of the turn signal bulbs or whatever in the dashboard indicator wasn't working. I think they forgot to put that one in, and the guy happily put one in. So I'm happy for that. But I can tell now that the electrical system is actually, all the accessories are actually working to full capacity. But what ticks me off though is that how other people think that being that this is an older car before the age of computers and complicated emission controls. In fact, the emission controls that were on this car were all removed because now it's exempt, and it has dual carbs fitted on. But if I would have known the condition, electrical wiring condition, I would not have bought this car. But since I did buy the car, now I'm more determined than ever to hold on to it and to have problems fixed and fixed right. And I know better than to try to mess with something myself, like especially electrical things. But there's maybe a couple other things, basic things like battery terminals that I mentioned in the last thing. But anyway, I want to show you, I actually wanted to, they still had the harness that they took out of the car, and I'll show you some of the crappy attempts at repair by the past owner or owners of this car. So without further ado, I'll show you. This is basically everything under the dash and in the engine compartment, and it was basically a lot of bad connections, some crappy things added. In fact, maybe I can show you. There's a, like here, this is not this was not right. This shit was added. Pardon my French. There's a plug here that has a different pin in it that isn't the right kind of pin. Yeah, right here. See that? See that? One of those pins is a little different. That's not what it should have been. They had added that in there. That's wrong. There was something under the dash that I knew it was really crappy, and this was part that was under the dash, where you see these, like this one wire here, you see like something like 3 or 4 connectors. Yeah, right here. Look at that. That, and then there's a little piece of wire. Then there's another connector. Then there's another little piece of wire, and then there's another connector, and then the rest of it goes into here. But I mean, you know, it just kind of ticks me off or pisses me off that someone would think that they could fix something like that and that it would be acceptable, you know. And I would implore people, if they're looking for a car like this, like an MG or an older English car, if I would say that if owner has like tampered with the wiring in any way, knock like about $800 or so off their asking price, and if they won't, just walk away, because something like this, I mean, I'm glad I had it fixed right, because I know it was like a ticking time bomb, and I'm glad I got it fixed right sooner or later. So the guy told me, here's those panels, and I told him that I had trimmed and fitted these panels, and he kind of like poo-pooed this. They don't like those. They say they take them off or whatever because they're hard to get off. But I may or may not put them back on. But what he did say, that something I did do with these, and I showed these in the last video, I took that kind of that insulation material, peeled it off of here, because that might be more of a fire hazard than not, you know. That could catch, God forbid if this happens again. So, but all the wiring, like I said, all the wiring they did, everything seems to be put in the dash right and attached in there right. So, but I feel a lot more confident now. I drove the car home today, and it's a really humid day, hot, warm, humid day, and then there was like a line of severe weather, thunderstorms and stuff coming. So as soon as I got home, it's kind of a fairly long drive. It's like a 40 minute drive, and as soon as I got home, it started sprinkling. So I covered the car up right away, and I beat the bad weather there. So at that, I'll say goodbye. And like I said, this is a cautionary tale. I know enough on cars to communicate correctly with like a professional mechanic on diagnosing problems, and I was pretty right on this. I mean, initially the guy I talked to, one of the guys at this, it's a family-owned business, this place called MG Limited, and at first the guy said, oh, there's nothing wrong with MG wiring. Well, and maybe if it hadn't been tampered with by other people, but that was the problem. This was. So with that, hopefully I'll have some reliable driving now, and I can drive with more confidence. So I'll let you go for now, and hope you have a nice day or whenever you're watching this. And if you do have a car, looking for a car like this, this is probably one of the big things you really want to check. I wish I had, like I said, but like I said, now I'm more determined to hold on to this car and probably gradually do it. Maybe in a couple years, 3-4 years, I could do a full restoration. So with that, I'll let you go, and thanks for watching. Bye.